pandemic and in line with this belief that justice should be accessible to every Filipino. Sige nga po, sabay-sabay. Ano po yung dalawang C's natin in practicing I inspire? At tagdagan ko ng isa, okay lang? Yes! This person really practices courage and consideration. Our third C for this afternoon is Attorney Manuel Shell. Let's give Attorney Shell a round of applause.
Wow! Nung natanggap ko yung inyong paanyaya, ako'y maging bahagi nitong napaka-espesyal na kaganapan. Sabi ko agad, yes na yes. Kasi, pagkasama ko kayo, bumabata ako. Yung 60 plus ko, nagiging 16 na lang. But really more than that, I welcome every chance to interact with our youth. Because you are not just the hope of our country. Kayo na mismo ang Pilipinas. Pero may resibo ako pag sinasabi ko yan. It's not just something that's nice to hear. Do you know that the median age of the Filipino today is 25 years old? What does that mean? Sa mga marunong sa arithmetic dito. That means that half of our population are below 25 years old, and half of our population are older than 25. Sipin nyo yun. In the last elections, more than 53% of our registered voters were young people like you. According to one study, in about 20 years, the Philippines will be the youngest economy in the entire ASEAN region. Pero, alam nyo, may ibig sabihin din yan, ha? I'm not saying that you shouldn't be proud to be part of the youth. Actually, you now are the biggest generation of young people in our country, in our entire history. Think of that. But there's something there that our leaders must understand. Na dapat aalagaan nila ang kabataang Pilipino. Because if we will be the youngest economy in 20 years or 25 years, ngayon pa lang, kailangan mabigyan na kayo ng sapat na kaalaman, sapat na kakayahan, so that you can be the most productive youth ever in our country. And you will shine for us in the entire world. So, I'm just beginning by saying this because for me, it's important as young people that you understand that you play such an important role in our country, but your voices must be heard. Kailangan malaman at marinig ng buong Pilipinas, lalong-lalo na yung nasa pamahalaan, yung inyong youth agenda. What do you need? I think I know what you need because I've been interacting with young Filipinos for so long. You need better education. You need better nutrition. You need better jobs and employment. And most of all, you need better opportunities. I am one of those who are pushing for this youth agenda, but it's impossible to do this alone. Dapat kayo na mismo ang mananawagan sa ating mga leaders na, oy, nasaan sa inyong platform ang youth agenda? Ano yung gagawin nyo talaga para sa kabataang Pilipino? It's not all silver lining. 25% of our young people like you are out of school. Imagine that. 25%, 1 out of 4 of our Filipino youth equitable education like you have, we must do something for them, and our government must do something for them. Okay, naman na yan, kasi hindi naman yan yung assigned topic ko ngayong hapon. But I wanted to begin with that because I think it's important that you get this message. Because for me, our leaders must pay attention to the needs of young people like you. Pero meron naman connection yan sa ating topic. You've asked me to speak about integrity. And I have been privileged to have been exposed to a lot of people with integrity. Kaya marami tayong kikwentuhan tayo ngayong hapon na ito. Let's begin with a very basic question. Ano bang ibig sabihin ng integrity? On my way here, I Googled and I checked the dictionary definition of integrity. At ang nakalagay doon ay simple lang, the quality of being honest. Ulitin ko ha, the quality of being honest. Another definition, being morally upright. And on my way here, as I was thinking about it, I remembered something that my father wrote. You know, my dad was my role model. He's known out to publicly as the father of human rights. But to me, he was my father and my hero. And he once said, sabi niya ganon, if you look at our language, malapit sa puso ng Pilipino yung gawin kung ano yung nararapat. Kung titingnan halimbawa natin yung salitang katarungan, our word for justice, what is the root word of katarungan? Tarong. Mga marunong mag-Bisaya dito, anong ibig sabihin ng tarong? Right. Doing what is right, being morally upright. So imagine, yung ibig sabihin ng integrity ay nakapaloob na sa ating konsepto ng justisya. Another word, karapatan, right. Yung, as in human rights, anong salita natin doon? Sinabi ko na, another K, karapatan. What's the root word of karapatan? Dapat. You look at the meaning of tarong and dapat, pareho lang sila. So to us, what it means to be just is to do what is right. Gawin yung nararapat. And that's the same meaning of having a right, a human right, karapatan. Kaya, pag sinabi natin yung salitang integrity, malapit sa puso natin yan bilang mga Pilipino. It's shown in our language and it's also shown in our history. Because if you look at our history, we have been fighting for our dignity, for our freedom, for centuries. We fought 130 revolts against Spain before we eventually gained our independence. Isipin nyo yun, 130 times natalo tayo, but we never surrendered. Can you imagine how strong that feeling pounds in our heart? That we will continue to fight despite all of those defeats. Kaya para sa akin, when you speak of integrity, when you think of an ordinary Filipino, you and we can all agree that most of our people have that quality. Saan tayo nagkukulang? Sa leadership natin. Now, before I talk about what we can do to push for more integrity, let me share with you some stories of people I have had the privilege of being with who really demonstrated what it means to have integrity. Let's allow me to begin with my dad. Yung tatay ko ay kilala noon bilang isang senador. Kilala rin siya bilang isang magaling na abogado. When I was only 11 years old, I cannot forget the evening when, despite his being a senator and a highly respected respected lawyer, he was taken away from us and put in jail for no reason at all. September 22, 1972, I was supposed to be asleep already kasi 11 years old na ako noon. Ang curfew ko sa bahay ay mga 9 p.m. Pero dahil nandun sa bahay yung mga kaibigan ng mga kapatid ko, mas matanda sa akin, I played hooky and stayed around with them. And I remember one of the friends of my sister telling them, "Oh, ilalabas lang ako. May bibili lang ako ng EOC." He came back in less than a minute and his face was really pale. Sabi niya, sabi namin, "Ba't ka bumalik?" And he said, "Ang daming sundalo sa labas. Hindi na ako makalabas." Next thing we knew, when we looked out the window, we saw dozens upon dozens of armed soldiers approaching our house. My father came out, opened the door, met the colonel who was heading the arresting team, and the colonel said, "Mr. Senator, we are inviting you to the military camp." Sabi naman ng tatay ko, "Is this an invitation I can refuse?" And the colonel, with a bit of a sad face, said, "I'm sorry, sir, you have to come with us." That was the last time we saw him as a free man for the next 2 years. Nung nakakulong siya, actually, madali naman siya makakalaya. There were many overtures to him na, "Oh, you just have to agree na keep quiet na lang, huwag ka nang lumaban sa diktadurya. We can give you so many things. And you will, be released. Kung gusto nyo, bukas pa." So many different offers came to him. But he refused them all. Sabi niya ganun, "Pag tinanggap ko yan, paano ko naman face yung sarili ko? How can I even accept these offers without sacrificing who I am?" The evening before he was supposed to be released, we got a call from the armed forces. "Pumunta kayo bukas sa Camp Aguinaldo at ilalaya na yun ninyo." Sabi sa ma'am ko, ang inyong asawa. So the next morning, we were so excited. We were so, we wanted so much for our father to be released. We go to Camp Aguinaldo, and after an hour, hindi pa rin siya na-release. After 2 hours, hindi pa rin siya na-release. So nagtatanong kami, bakit? Yung pala, they were forcing him to sign a piece of paper na pag i-release siya, kumbaga i-pledge niya yung kanyang loyalty sa administrasyon. And he said, "Yak, pipirma dyan. Kahit ibalik niyo na ako sa jail, I will not sign that piece of paper." So kami naman, yung pamilya niya, we were like, "Come on, let's, come home." But he refused. And he was only released when they finally found a middle ground where they allowed him to sign the paper with parang, forget the exact term that he used, but it meant na he was not accepting all of the terms that were written in that piece of paper. And actually, yung pagka-release niya was not a real release. Kasi nire-require pa rin siya na mag-report at hindi siya nakakalabas ng Metro Manila na hindi siya nagpapaalam quote-unquote sa military. But despite all of that, the moment he was released, he began again to fight for our freedom and our democracy. Kahit na alam niya, pwede siyang ikulihin ulit o baka may mas malala pang mangyayari sa kanya, until his dying days, he continued to fight for our human rights and for our dignity. Kaya hindi ko talaga, I really look up to him as one of my greatest role models because of how he lived his life. Another one that reminds me of him is none other than former Senator Laila De Lima. Si Sen. Laila was in jail for almost 7 years. Can you imagine 7 years being put in jail? Wala siyang access sa cellphone, wala siyang access sa internet, wala siyang access sa TV. Minsan lang siya pinapayagan na makinig sa radyo. Imagine how lonely it must feel to be in jail under those circumstances. Ang dami rin inalok sa kanya. All you have to do is say yes, and you will be out. You will have your freedom again. Bukas na bukas. She refused them all. And she made the entire process of the courts. Sabi niya, I will, since pinailan niya ako ng kaso, irerespeto ko yung proseso. And I will get my freedom as the courts will give it to me, and not because of some political accommodation. That is the kind of integrity that we need in our country. That is the kind of integrity we should demand of every single leader in the Philippines. Whether he or she is a barangay captain, vice mayor, councilor, mayor, congressperson, senator, vice president, president, ganon dapat ang maging batayan natin sa kanila. And even in choosing our leaders, that is how we should cast our vote, my opinion. Kasi para sa akin, that is the only way that we can really have not just individuals with integrity, but an entire nation that has integrity. Nasa atin naman DNA yun eh. Because the same DNA that our leaders from beforehand, starting with Jose Rizal and the many others who fought during the Spanish colonial time up to now, ay nasa inyong lahat din yun. That is in our blood as Filipinos. Kaya para sa akin, having integrity is not something that is a foreign concept, abstract concept. It is something that we can draw upon from within ourselves. Kasi nasa atin talaga yun. It's in our history, it's in our language, it's in what we do on a daily basis. But integrity doesn't require big, heroic acts. Integrity also can be found in the smallest kinds of deeds that we do every day. Kailangan mo ng pera, need to pay your school tuition, etc. Your parents are having a hard time. You stumble upon a wallet with a lot of money, but instead of taking it for yourself, you return it to its lawful and rightful owner. That is integrity. As a lawyer, I have had many occasions when I have had to make a choice between the easy way and the right way. And I'm proud of myself that I have chosen to take the right way. I can remember one incident. One time, I was called upon. I'm a member of FLAG, the Free Legal Assistance Group. We give free legal aid, lalo na sa mga victims of human rights. I was called upon. May tumawag sa amin, attorney, yung kapatid ko ay hinuli ng mga military nasa isang kampo in Luzon, Central Luzon. So I traveled there, although ang rule namin sa opisina dapat dalawa kami palagi, may body system. All the other lawyers in the office were out in court hearings. Ako lang ang nandun. So I notified them and I said, mauuna na ako doon, sumunod kayo. Somehow, when we reached the camp, I don't know why, kasi ang sasakyan ko naman is a small Toyota. It's not any kind of expensive car. Biglang pagdating ko sa gate ng military camp, sinaluduhan ako ng mga nandun. And then they even showed me kung saan ako magpapark. Bakit kaya wala naman sticker yung kotse ko? And the sergeant who met me said, sir, dito po kayo mapasok. So I entered the room that had, when I entered the room, it was something like this, malaki rin siya. There were glass partitions here and another room there, pero you could see it kasi hindi naman tinted ng glass. And I saw some military personnel putting boxes of ammunition inside a bag, many bags. So imbis na inaalis nila yung mga ammunition sa loob ng bag, nilalagay nila sa loob yung mga kahon ng bagan. So nagtataka ako kung ano kaya ang ginagawa nitong mga sundalo. And then as soon as maybe I took about 20 steps inside, biglang nakita ko ng colonel na kilala ko na from previous cases. Sabi niya sa akin, lumakot siya agad, medyo nakasimangot siya. Sabi niya, attorney, bakit ka nandito? You're not allowed here. Sabi ko, dito ako pinapasok ni Sarge. Sabi ko, no, you cannot stay here. You go out. So he escorted me out. I asked to see my clients, and my client, I think he allowed me. Tinala ko sila, sabi ko, bakit kayo inuli? Sabi nila, hindi namin alam. Ang narinig lang namin ay illegal possession. Sabi ko, bakit? May dala ba kayong mga armas or anything like that? Wala ka ng dala. Sabi nila. Pero yun ang we overheard na yun daw yung kaso dapat sa atin. So I went to see the camp commander of the camp to inquire. Sabi ko, Colonel or General, gusto lang malaman kung anong dahilan kung bakit sila inaresto. And he goes to me and he says, halika, sumama ka sa akin. And he takes me to the very same office that they had kicked me out of. Then when we reached the door, sabi niya ganun, dito ka lang ha, sa loob ko. Alam ko na po yung nasa loob niya. And when he comes out after 5 minutes, talagang nakaganon siya. Attorney, sorry, hindi ko pwedeng i-release yung mga kliyente mo. Sabi ko, bakit? Kasi may kaso sila. Anong kaso nila? Illegal possession of ammunition. Things, ammunition. Yung nakita ko sa loob, mga bala, nilalagay sa bag. Sabi ko, malamang yun. So, in law, in procedure, when a person is arrested, dapat ihaharap siya sa inquest, sa prosecutor. At yung prosecutor ang magsasabi kung legal ba yung pag-aresto at kung sapat na dapat kasuhan sila at i-detain. Hintay kami. I arrived in the camp around 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Alas 10 ng gabi dumating yung inquest prosecutor. So I go to him and I say, Sir, hindi naman legal ang pagka-aresto sa kanila. He looks at the document and said, sorry, attorney, ilaban mo na lang sa court yan. Kasi based on the affidavits, mukha naman may dahilan. Okay, no problem. And he was about to recommend already na i-detain yung mga clients ko. And I said, sandali lang po, meron akong, hindi pa tayo tapos sa inquest. I said, bakit? Meron po akong counter-charge. And I brought out a 101-page complaint for planting of evidence. Sabi niya, planting of evidence, sino ang witness? And I looked at him and I said, ako po. Sabi kong gano'n. You know, he was taken aback kasi bihira nangyayari yon. And after several days, they actually dismissed the case. And I was able to get at least some of my clients out kasi wala naman silang ibang mga kaso. Now, I tell you this because it would have been easy for me to keep quiet. I was in a place that was foreign to me, lots of armed people there. Malay ko, baka magalit sila sa akin, baka may gawin silang bawi sa akin. But I really felt it was the only thing to do, given the circumstances. And that's really what I mean when I say that we have to learn to act with integrity. Because we have so many choices in life on an everyday basis. And sometimes our tendency is to choose the easy way, the easy path. But the easy path may not always be the right thing to do. And if we want to demand others to do the right thing, then that has to begin with ourselves. Wala akong kay na sabihin sa isang leader o isang tao, dapat ikaw honest ka, dapat gagawin mo yung nararapat kung hindi ko rin ginagawa yun sa sarili kong buhay. And that's, to me, really what is the essence of integrity and how to make that part of your life. At para siyang maging bahagi ng inyong pagkatao. I think you can draw so many lessons from our history, recent and past, of how Filipinos have acted with integrity. Napakarami mga halimbawa yan. Kaya ako talaga sinasabi na it's not something far away from us. You can find it everywhere. And even ordinary Filipinos have shown that kind of integrity in so many different ways. Ngayon, one last point before I end. I think it's important that we demand that kind of integrity from everyone who is in a position of authority, whether that is in our communities, in government, even in the private sector. Because for me, integrity is contagious. Just if they say that being corrupt is contagious, sa tingin ko, being good and doing the right thing is also contagious. And the more people we can influence to make that happen, then the better our country and our society will be. Pagpali na lang, kayo ba ay naniniwala na ang pwersa ng kabataan ng power ng bayan? Oh, parang manumana yung sagot niyo, ha? Do you believe in your power as young people?
Yes.
Yes, you must believe in your power because that power does not come from anything outside. That power comes from within every one of you. Sometimes, minsan nalulungkot ako kasi may lumalapit sa akin na kabataan tulad nyo. Sabi nila, Patrick Michel, wala naman kami magagawa. Hindi naman, sino lang ba naman kami na we can make a difference? And I always answer by telling them, all it takes is one person who is dedicated and committed to make a difference. Ang dami-dami yun dito. And I can feel how you all have that sense of what is right. So you never forget that you have the power to make a difference. What you have to do is believe in yourselves and believe in each other. So bago tayo mag-end, can we do this? I do this in a lot of my activities with young people. Dapat pa rin, mag-video tayo, pero hindi tayo kakanta, hindi rin tayo sasayaw. Dapat marinig ng buong Pilipinas yung boses ninyo. So I will shout, we'll all stay here in the middle. I'll ask you all to stand up. Sisigaw ako, pwersa ng kabataan, at sasagot naman kayo, power ng bayan. Pwede ba? Yes! Okay, practice muna. Pwersa ng kabataan,
Power ng bayan!
Ano, Sir Bobby, mahina ba? Parang kulang pa. Parang kulang pa. Pwersa ng kabataan!
Power ng bayan!
Pwede na. Okay. Before I end, of course, allow me to thank everyone who organized this and made this possible. Of course, yung ating chair of FIDMA Foundation Incorporated, Sir Roberto M. Davinia. Nicole Del Rosario Serafica, DSI. Daniel Del Rosario, COO of a Union Insulated Panel Corporation. EJ Kwa Jansen, FIDMA CFO. Everyone from the FIDMA family and everyone who made this event possible. Ready?